No doubt, Filipinas are some of the most beautiful women in the world, who also have many wonderful qualities and more old-fashioned values than perhaps many women from other countries. And of course, this has been well known worldwide for many years now. On top of that, many men who are thinking of dating and possibly marrying a Filipina will check out channels on YouTube, such as this one, in an effort to get more of an insight into what it really may be like to date and marry a Filipina. And of course, on this channel, over my 650 or so videos to date, I talk about my own views and experiences around relationships with a woman from the Philippines. Now, because I've had far more positive than negative experiences, you'll hear me often say how great a relationship with a Filipina can be. But make no mistake, that is when you find a genuine or good Filipina. Any country will have good and not so good women, and one needs to choose carefully if he's looking for a long-lasting relationship. So that poses the question, does the fantasy meet the reality around dating a Filipina? Now, what I mean here is that men from all over the world who may be looking at various dating sites and seeing so many very beautiful and often much younger women. And this can cause some to get a fantasy in their mind that they too can have a beautiful, much younger woman, possibly in her early 20s. Because he knows that in his country, it's only a dream or a fantasy that would most likely never come true. And let's face it, for many men, no matter how old or young you are, the Philippines offers a virtual smorgasbord that is filled with unbelievable fantasies for many foreign men. And certainly, many Filipinas are very open to the idea of meeting, dating, and possibly marrying a foreign man. And many of these women in the Philippines may also have a fantasy in her mind of one day being in a relationship with a foreign man. She too may view all foreigners as very nice men who always are honest and work hard at their relationships, which I don't have to tell those of you in many foreign countries that this is simply not true. There are decent and not so decent men in every country worldwide, and sometimes the not so decent ones may target the Filipinas solely to satisfy their fantasies without having to commit to a real relationship. This, of course, is unbeknown to the Filipina in many cases, or some guys may just decide to go to the Philippines every so often and get with the bar girls and escorts to live out those fantasies. And for most Filipinas, they'll be looking for a man of substance who they can rely upon and know that they will work hard at the relationship. This, of course, is often where they can become vulnerable to men who themselves are not genuine, decent, or caring. With some men, however, they want to live out their fantasy every day of their life. They almost seem like they have something to prove to themselves or perhaps to others. Maybe to stick it to an ex-wife or to impress his friends. So these guys set out to find a very beautiful and mostly, as I said, a much younger Filipina to start dating and possibly to marry. Just quickly, if you're enjoying our channel, feel free to subscribe for all future videos. They'll have a very narrow focus around looking for a woman that they consider to be a 10 out of 10 in looks, and other factors such as kind, caring, considerate, loyal, etc. are easily pushed aside. Make no mistake here, the main criteria for these men is that she's very beautiful. But you see, the problem with fantasies are that one should never live them out and they should stay inside your mind simply as fantasies. That's because the fantasy of whatever is in your mind rarely matches the reality and often leads to great disappointment. If one is going to blindly choose a life partner based mostly on her looks and not the substance of that woman, then seriously, how can he expect that relationship to stand the test of time? And equally, once the Filipina realises that this guy isn't all she thought he would be, then she may up and leave him. And maybe even for some other man. This is why we see many foreign guys with broken relationships with a Filipina. I say mostly. It's not that the Filipina has done anything wrong, but more so, when one lives out a fantasy, it has an expiry date. Simply because when lived out, it's no longer new and exciting or a fantasy in your mind. He will soon start to see the reality that this good-looking woman doesn't have many of the qualities to sustain a fulfilling relationship for the long term. Now sure, you can find nice-looking Filipinas who also have many great qualities for a long-lasting relationship. But what I'm saying is don't look for a Filipina based on what your fantasies tell you she should look like. Sure, most guys want a pleasant or nice-looking Filipina, which is natural to be attracted to, but be sure she also has the substance to match. And remember, looks don't last forever, and once they're gone, what will be left if no depth or substance in that person? I'm sure that most of the guys who have been married for many years will tell you that the qualities, values and morals were all very important factors in the Filipina that they married. So certainly guys, remember, the fantasy rarely meets the reality. So be a little more careful and play it smart, and perhaps the one fantasy you believed in your mind that could never come true of a long-lasting and happy relationship could just one day come true for you. If you're looking for more information and tips on dating a Filipina, be sure to check out the card on screen now. Thanks for watching, stay safe and take care.